Nut Nerd Podcast, Episode 302, Sleepy Stupor.
Welcome to the Nut Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. So much to talk about today because it feels like it's been forever since a normal episode. But here with me, as normal, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Nate, am I late? I just sat down.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for joining us.
Oh, sorry about that. I just walked into the room and sat down and recorded, and you're sitting there, and I'm so embarrassed. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive.
Yes, Dave, you will not realize this as a listener, besides his Foley work there, that Dave was a little late in waking up due to Apple Watch alarm failure this morning, but that is fine because I found something to do. Remember back when we were looking at how many apps we have on our phone?
Yeah.
And when I was realizing that I'm getting a new phone Friday, and the more apps that are on there, the longer it's going to take for my new phone to get set up. So I'm going to go in and delete some, and I'm going through my folders, and I'm like, oh no, I just can't delete that one.
That's my favorite.
I deleted about, I would say, maybe 15 to 20 apps that...
Holy cow.
Yeah, out of my 400 plus or whatever I've got on there. But
Holy
yes,
cow.
We will get into that in a moment. We've got some follow-up. I picked a while back the Wyze Outdoor Cam. Mm-hmm. We love Wyze, and stay tuned for another Wyze product in my pick of the week.
Oh boy.
I've got a list of them. I could go for about a month and a half on new Wyze products. But the Wyze Outdoor Cam, this is the one they have released maybe earlier this year, where it is wireless. So you can mount it anywhere. It's battery powered, connects to Wi-Fi, and then it has a little Wi-Fi base station that you connect to your router so that it can do some of the stuff there and not use so much battery. Well, I've been loving that. We had it right on our front porch, pointing down to see packages, or if somebody was at the door who was coming to our door, all of that good stuff. Well, I only had the one camera, but you can put up to 4. So about a month ago, I went out to my car to grab something in the morning, and I was like, why is all this stuff on my passenger seat?
Uh-oh.
I don't remember that. And then I start looking, and my much loved 2004 Honda CR-V has a little center in the dashboard. There's a little pull-down door with a storage area there.
Yeah.
And I noticed that was open. And so I look in there, and in there, for PDX Fast Foodie, I had a stack of, let's just say, about 20 gift cards that I had gathered over the years.
Yikes.
Which I always forgot to use. And they were mostly fast food gift cards, like $5 Dutch Bros or $5 Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, this whole stack. Well, they were gone. And so I look on my passenger seat, and there was like a couple gift cards like kind of laying there, and I'm like, must have left my doors unlocked. Somebody went through my car and grabbed these. So I go over around on the passenger side. I can see that the door's not shut all the way.
Yeah.
Like they had opened it, done a quick grab. So I'm like, Nate, you've had your car broken into enough times. You should know to lock your door.
And nobody's perfect. I mean,
nobody's
shouldn't be walking around stealing things.
But there is that part of it. And so I'm like, you know what? Most of those gift cards, they probably had like been expired by now. It wasn't like they actually left our McMinimans passports in there. And I have a couple large gift cards that I keep in my wallet, which I actually left at a park, but ended up getting back. That's for another episode. Anyways, so I had kind of written it off. I said, you know what? Not going to get them back. This is my every couple years lesson of don't leave valuables in your car. Pro tip, don't leave valuables in your car, no matter where you are, even in the safe neighborhoods of Tualatin.
Yeah.
Well, then your favorite Facebook, about a week later, I get one of those message requests that are kind of hidden, and I happen to notice it. And it was somebody that said, hey, did you lose a casino card and a key card? And I go, well, and explained the story of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they had found it, and it was just around the corner from our house, kind of laying near some bushes. So once I told her, she went out, looked, found all of my gift cards like thrown into these bushes in front of her house.
What in the world?
And so then I eventually connected with her. I said, hey, you can have any of these gift cards you like. And she was very thankful. But it was just this crazy thing. And my thing is trying to figure out, I'm just so curious, who would do a quick grab, find a bunch of like fast food gift cards and go, this isn't what I'm looking for. I mean, what's the perfect crime? A gift card.
Yeah.
Because they're untraceable. Everybody eats fast food. So it was like a vegan meth addict or something that stole my cards and decided that they didn't want to carry a small stack of gift cards. So all that to be said, I now have a second Y Store outdoor cam that is focused on my car. So next time I will be able to know who the person is that takes my gift cards.
Wow. That was a long walk.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. That was in honor of Norm Macdonald and some of his long walk jokes.
Yes. And
rest in peace.
A couple seconds of silence for Norm, my favorite comedian. That guy, he did pass away from cancer. He kind of hid it from everybody. Nobody knew, but he was the master of long jokes that had like 0 point at the end, and you're just like,
his
why?
delivery is so precious. And I actually saw a good tweet about him that Norm Macdonald was the comedian that everybody thought that they were the only fan of, but it turns out everybody is a Norm, or most people, we will say. But so anyways, a little plug there for the Wise Outdoor Cam. That was a long story. I apologize. And Dave, maybe put that in 2.5 speed for the final cut.
I'll cut out the part about where the gift cards were stolen and recovered. That'll make it shorter.
Yes. But anyways, on to more stuff. We had our Apple event last week. I did frustratingly wake up at 4:55 a.m. Friday morning and I had my pre-order all set, so it should have taken me about 30 seconds and I'd be back to sleep. Ended up taking me about 30 minutes to get my iPhone pre-ordered because there was some issue with using my Apple Card to pre-order my iPhone.
How is that even possible? Now,
Frustrating.
I did see a news article, and this must be why it's related. It said something. People who pre-ordered iPhone 13 will still get their 3% cash back. Was that because they were unable to use their card for the purchase? Or?
I didn't see that article, so I ended up, by the end of the half an hour, I was looking this morning, apparently in my sleepy stupor, I ended up ordering 3 phones.
What?
One on my Apple upgrade program. I eventually got it to go through by using a different card, but obviously I wanted my 3% with the Apple Card.
Yeah.
And then I had ordered one just normal because I was afraid the times would slip. So at first I had I believe a 8:15 or a 8 o'clock to 8:15 pickup time at the Bridgeport Apple Store. And now my upgrade phone is at 8:45 pickup. And then I have a regular phone that I bought that I could pick up at 8:30, and then apparently one being shipped to me too. So, if anybody didn't get their pre-order in and wants a 256 gigabyte graphite iPhone 13 Pro, I could get one of those and sell it to you, but I'm going to try to contact Apple, get my card switched, and cancel those other orders. Did you buy anything in the last week, Dave?
Well, typically I would not. I was not really interested in getting the iPhone 13. It was a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I had kind of made a pact with myself to keep my phone for 2 years and then sell it and then get the new, the 14 or whatever, just to be more conservative and use my things,
prudent,
not spend money, and prudent, all those things. However, I was curious and I went in and did a mock order just to see, because I wanted to see what the trade-in credit for my current phone was. And between Apple and T-Mobile and all these things, I discovered, and I hope my math is right. So you who lettered in math, please help me out on this, because I pulled the trigger and I went in and I saw that I had $500 remaining on my current contract because I'm paying through the Apple Card over time at 0% financing, 3% back. It's great, It's a slight discount on your phone. So I owed about $500. I'm like, okay, that's about right. It's about $1,000. We're in September. It's halfway done. And then I got credited for a $790 cash back trade-in.
Oh.
And I said, well, wait a minute. So I owe $500 and they're going to give me $790 back. So if I reorder this phone, I'm only going to owe $400 and something, like $402 or something is what it came out to. The numbers are, they're not exact numbers. And so I went through the process and ordered an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I even went up to 256 megabytes.
Ooh. Gigabytes,
sorry.
Kilobytes.
And I'm actually going to get the new phone and owe $100 less than if I would have kept the 12.
Wow.
And I was like, is my math wrong? And I opened up my little phone that says, hey, here's how much you owe on your new thing. And it was $100 less than it was before. So it feels like they gave me $100 to upgrade my phone. Now this could all come crashing down in the future, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's not right. You owe $10,000." But I did the math over and over, and I compared the stuff, and I looked at my numbers, and it seems like I'm getting $100 to upgrade.
Yeah. So what was the trade-in amount?
$790. Maybe
$790.
Maybe I said $709, but it's $790. Almost $800.
And you paid, what was it, about $1,000 for your?
I upgraded, so it was $1,100.
$1,100. So basically $800. So you spent about $300 to use the phone for a year.
Yeah.
So what is that? $25 no, $40 a month.
Yeah, I was paying $34 a month over my 24-month contract, and now I'm paying $18 a month for the next 2 years.
Crazy.
So I know it's like I got the phone for half price or something. It's the point here is, ladies and gentlemen, as we've muddled through this math and talked about cutting things out of the show, if you got a phone last year, go through the process with your carrier or through Apple's website. Click on the trade-in value just to see what you'll get.
Just to see. Yeah.
I got more than the value of my phone back for it. And so I just went ahead and upgraded. I got the white iPhone 13 Pro Max, 256 gigabytes, and enjoy it.
You might actually, because I'm on the Apple upgrade program, and something, again, it was 5 a.m. looking at it, but I saw some other people post about this, that I am actually going to have to pay extra because last year the phones came out in October.
Yeah.
And so I haven't technically paid 12 months on my Apple upgrade plan. So they're going to charge me an extra month, which when I talk to Apple, I'm going to be like, so do I get to keep my 12 Pro Max for a month since I'm paying for it? I shouldn't have to give it back yet. But it seems kind of cheap of Apple when it's on them. And the people that are on the upgrade program are the people that are interested in having the newest phone as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I haven't followed up with that. I was actually traveling over the weekend and I haven't been able to get back to contact Apple and get everything straightened out. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out because... And a lot of people say, well, it looks the same. The chip isn't that much faster. But I'm going to tell you now, the camera improvements on the new phones, once again, if you value taking photos, there's a lot of improvement there. And the battery life, too. I mean, those are two of the most important things to me, battery life and the cameras. And the 13s have some good improvements. So.
And friend of the show, Tyler, and I were talking about this ordeal, and he said, well, what would make you upgrade? What are you interested in? I'm like, well, mainly because it's basically a free upgrade. That's the main thing. But secondly, I'm looking forward to the camera improvements, and I'd actually forgot to mention the macro photography that's going to be possible. That's going to unlock a whole new world of photos that I can take with my phone now, and so that's kind of one of the things that I'm most interested in. So we shall see, but I'm excited that I got it, and I'm going to enjoy every single bit of it. I will have to buy a new case, but oh well.
Yes, yes. Well, I did want to bring up, just in case you wanted to discuss it at all, it's tech adjacent, but since it's been 3 weeks since we've really talked about anything, you went to Portland Comic-Con or Rose City Comic-Con a couple weeks ago?
Yes, Rose City Comic-Con. That's right. And as far as Comic-Cons go, it's a pretty big one. I think it's grown over the years. It's, doesn't even compare to the San Diego Comic-Con. That's like the big boy. But there were celebrities there, like Adam Savage was there from the Mythbusters. They have these little partitioned off areas where you can pay money to go talk with them and get a picture and all that stuff. I did not do that. Celebrities, whatever. I could give them or leave them or take them or leave them. But the amount of energy that people put into building costumes is astounding. A few weeks before the show, I had ordered my costume, and I kept putting it off. Finally ordered it, put it on expedited shipping. It's still not here. None of my stuff is still here.
No.
None of it. So I contacted him last night, actually, and I'm like, can I just cancel this? I mean, it hasn't even shipped yet. What in the world? And I even put expedited shipping on there. And so I'm like, I want all my money back. So we'll see what happens. Typically you buy these from some Chinese company, and who knows if it'll ever come, or if my message got through or whatever. So my daughter Abby and I were going to be the Black Widow and the Red Guardian. It was going to be great. I've been for months growing out my beard.
Yes.
And making it scraggly and gray and gross. And the costumes never came. So we went down to, shout out to Spirit Halloween stores, if you're familiar with those.
Nice, yes.
And we got us some steampunk generic costumes. So we were generic costume guys. But we had a lot of fun. We went with friend of the show, Chris and Landon and Aubrey, and we just walked around the show floor. I bought a couple comic books. There was dozens and dozens of photos opportunities with those guys because they dressed up in Star Wars characters. They looked very good, and so people wanted to take pictures with them. And Abby and I, no pictures. Generic steampunk people. Nobody was interested. We got one photo from a guy who I think was with Rose City Comic-Con, who was walking around just taking pictures of everybody. He's like, can you pose for a picture? And we were so honored. It's like, us? And after he took the picture, I'm like, we're just standing here by a trash can. This was the greatest picture in the world. I hope it's on the front page of Rose City Comic-Con's website. So anyway, we had a great time. It's fun. Nice. If you want to go out and let your freak flag fly, go to a Comic-Con. Nobody judges you. Nobody cares. It's great. It's a wonderful environment to be in.
Very nice. Well, now that we've spent 3.5 hours discussing our lives over the last 3 weeks, we can get back to more typical tech stuff, but fun stuff going on in our lives that we want to talk about, like stuff being stolen from me and you getting to go to Comic-Con. So there was a ruling in the Apple Epic Fortnite case, and I've heard much debate about what the ruling seemed a little bit generic of what they actually said, but it seems like Apple kind of won out in the end. They are going to have to make a couple changes, and we've been talking about some of from different cases around the world where Apple's having to make some minor changes to what they allow apps to do as far as taking payments. So that happened, and the legal stuff, a lot of it, my eyes go crossed and my brain turns off. But they did get a ruling, and who knows if there will be appeals. There usually are. I mean, some of these cases go on for a decade. So that's that. And we might have to get a new sounder. I don't know if you added one last month for Microsoft Patch Tuesday. And they fixed more than 80 bugs this month. So, they're averaging, I think, around 100 bugs a month that they fix in their Windows updates. So if you're a Windows user, make sure you do those updates, and hopefully it doesn't break something else.
Now, to be fair, Apple does update their software regularly, and they don't really announce what all they're fixing. So they could be fixing hundreds of bugs.
Yes. So they September Patch Tuesday has passed. So 66 vulnerabilities alongside 20 Chromium security bugs in their Microsoft Edge, which is, of course, based on the Chromium now. So
now, do they only do the patches once a month, or is it once a week?
They do Patch Tuesday once a month. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is once a month. I believe it's usually the second Tuesday of the month. So those of us in the IT world are usually anticipating that, both for things getting fixed and more things being broken. So
yeah, well, good on you, Microsoft. Let's keep squashing those bugs and making things more secure.
Yes.
But if you cannot break stuff along the way, that'd be great.
Yes, and we do have a crypto watch story that happened, I believe this was last week. So Litecoin, Lite, is one of probably the top 5 cryptocurrencies. And last week, their price jumped 20% after a hoax press release was discussed on CNN. They did a big story that Walmart was going to be using Litecoin. So there's this huge spike in the price. And come on, mainstream media, do better in checking your stories, because that is...
It's kind of sad. Journalism as a whole these days has been squashed so hard. And, they used to have cutting edge journalists who would research stories. They would put it through an editor. And then there was this whole pipeline, and there was fact checking and spell checking and all these things. Now it's Carl, who used to do a blog, who got hired by CNN, who failed grade 9 grammar.
Yes.
And just has no journalistic integrity or experience doing all this stuff. And they're their own reporter, their own editor, their own camera person, their own everything. The quality of reporting has just gone down so far. And it's sad that it seems to have reached the large outlets like newspapers and news stations and all these things. I just feel like we're headed down fast as far as journalism goes. But CNN should know better. They should have somebody fact check these things. But
I know, and they don't really know who was behind it. But CNN, I think, a couple of the news stories, so everybody buys into Litecoin real quick. And so, some people are suspect that it was a little pump and dump, that a bunch of people that are, people that own Litecoin seeded this story. It gets
that
released,
absolutely was the
sell it.
case. I have no question that was the case. And they just struck it big when a big news outlet picked up their story.
Yes, and I will quickly mention, as we do when we talk Crypto Watch, that the Bitcoin price over the last month, it is currently at $42,426.20. The high was $52,900, and the low was $40,200. So still a lot of volatility the last day or so. I've been checking my piddly amount of crypto in my Robinhood app, and there's been a big dive over the last day, but it's constantly volatile.
Yeah, I was up on my Ethereum. I was like, I'm just like stocks. Here's what you do: you just don't even look at them.
No, I know.
Don't even look at them. And then 10 years from now, look at it and go, I
lost all my money.
Yeah, well, that's probably accurate.
Yes, it's hard to say. And I was, my parents visited some friends recently who were telling them how well they've done on cryptocurrency. And it's like, well, yeah, right now they might be doing good. And if they got in early, they're probably up a lot. But I think it has, unless they're very into it and very active and watching every second, it probably has little to do with them and more to do with the whims of the cryptocurrency market. But not to say anything bad about them. It's just... Man, you sure don't know what's going on.
Well,
so
the biggest disappointment is the $100 I spent on Dogecoin.
Yes.
I'll never make that back.
Well, keep the hope alive. Doge to the moon. But what we can always count on is Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
So, Nate, I've been traveling a lot this year. And, man, it's crazy. And the iPhone 12 Pro Max has come in like a champ to record all my highlights, all my disappointments, all my successes and failures. It's been great. Been to Colorado. I've been to Kansas. Most recently, I've been to my son's cross-country track meet. There's just a few things I want to remind people about the camera on your iPhone, because basically no matter which iPhone you're using, now there are some exceptions. If you're using the iPhone 3G that came out like a decade ago, the photos are probably not that great, but you'll be surprised at how good they actually are.
Yeah.
But modern iPhones, the cameras are just phenomenal. And I wanted to just remind people of a couple tips that we've covered and maybe share a few new things. But when you're at a track meet or something like that, and the starting gun's about ready to fire and you want to get a photo off quick, you pull you're like, oh no, the race is starting. You pull the camera out of your pocket and, you might go, oh, I'm going to put my thumb on the thing to unlock, or I'm going to swipe up and, oh, Face ID doesn't work. Oh, my phone was sideways. And then where's the camera app icon? I don't even know where this is. Well, just as a reminder, and again, like I said before, we've covered these things, but on your lock screen, there is a camera icon. And if you simply press and hold that, it will launch you into camera mode. Boom, like that. The even faster way is to swipe from right to left on your home screen, or what is that called? Lock screen, sorry.
Lock screen.
On your lock screen, right to left, boom, the camera's there. You don't even have to press and hold that dumb little button and wait for the haptic feedback and all that thing to happen. And you're launched right into the camera. Now, I like to take a lot of video, but how can you take photos when you're in video mode? Well, again, we've covered this before, but if you're taking a video, a little white button will appear in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. That white button, if you press it, will take a screen capture photo of the scene. So what I like to do is when my son is running by is I pan the camera as he's running and I just go tap, 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 tap on that white button, and I've got a bunch of photos along with my video.
Nice.
Another thing that might happen, since I like to take video a lot, every time I launch the camera app, it goes to photo mode. And it's like, I was on video last time, just like 5 seconds ago, and now it's in photo mode, and I have to switch back to video again. Like, why does it keep doing this? I don't want to keep my camera running the whole time. Well, there is an extra pro tip. In the settings of your iPhone, scroll down a bit from the main screen and find the camera setting, and it is a little, these days it's actually getting farther and farther down the list, and you hit camera and it'll take you to the camera settings. This is iOS 15, so your mileage may vary if you're on older operating systems. iOS 15 just came out. You can download the Gold Master and use it, but it has a variety of settings, and one of those settings, about 5 down from the top of the camera screen, is preserve settings. In there, you'll find camera mode, creative controls, exposure adjustment, night mode, portrait zoom, and live photo. And there's a toggle. If you want the camera mode to be preserved between sessions, you turn that on, so that if I'm on portrait mode and I take a picture and I come back a half hour later and turn on camera again, portrait mode will still be selected. And that works with any of the modes: camera, photo, portrait, whatever. So if you're a person who takes a video all the time and you want it to be on video, toggle that thing and then take a video. Next time you go in, video will be there. By default, it switches back to camera every time. And I think there's a slight timeout length of time. Like if you immediately go back, it'll probably preserve the settings, but if it's been like 10 minutes, it's going to default back to photo. The creative controls, it's also helpful if you're a person who always uses the third filter, that's like the dreamy filter or whatever, like the Instagram filter on your phone, and you always want to take that, click preserve settings on creative controls. Same with exposure adjustment and night mode, all of those. The one that I have checked right now is live photo. When I turn live photo off, I want it to be off forever. I don't want it to keep turning back on every 15 minutes when I go into my camera and go like, how did live photos get back on? Well, with this setting, you can preserve those settings. So if you switch it off, it'll stay off the whole time. So those are some quick tips on how to get to your camera and how to take photos faster by using the preserve settings in your settings section.
I like it. Yeah, that's I just went in and adjusted mine, but I'm the same. My wife loves using the live photos. I do not like them, and I feel like
it's very polarizing.
Yes, photos turn out better if you don't use live photo, but that's probably not true. But yeah, those are great settings to use, and we use the cameras. At least you and I use the cameras, and I'm guessing many of our listeners, and being able to capture stuff quickly and have things the way you want them is very helpful.
And I'm just going to throw this out there. Unless you're taking video for TikTok, please, no vertical video.
Yes.
It hurts the soul of the planet every time you use vertical video.
Yes, I was DJing a wedding this past weekend. There was a lot of vertical video going on, but to each their own. I think it was ignorance as opposed to intentionality in this case. But
this is not a hill I'm going to die on, but
yes.
I like to throw it out there.
And you did quickly mention, but I will restate it, that the new versions of iOS, iPadOS, and watchOS are out. There's lots of reviews out there if you're looking to see what's new. They're not major. This is an iOS 7 where it's a major revamp and you're not going to know how to use things, but there are some very nice features that have been added. The weather app is great now. The live text feature is amazing.
Live text is where it's at.
So get updated on all that stuff and enjoy. Well, on to our takes of the week. A couple of these, over the last couple of weeks. But the first one, Dave, I don't know if you pre-ordered these yet or not, or if that's even available, but Facebook has debuted its Ray-Ban Stories Smart. I will put smart in air quotes, sunglasses.
Well, I read a couple articles and watched a couple videos on these, and I don't think that I am the target person for these. And it's mainly because I wear glasses and not contacts typically. So, I would hate to have to put my contacts in every time I want to wear these things.
Yes. They, I do see that they will have polarized and transition lens options coming with prescription lenses. So these are co-branded with Ray-Ban.
Yeah.
So if you've seen a pair of the classic Ray-Bans, they look a lot like that.
Oh, I forgot to mention another reason is Facebook.
Yes.
Did I leave that dangling there? That's the main reason I don't want these.
Yes. So the reason why I put smart into air quotes is these don't have any kind of display built in, which we've kind of has been the big talk of eventually the display will be built into glasses and it'll be like a movie where everything pops up in your eyesight there. But these do have a camera built in, and you can take photos or videos, and then there's a special app from Facebook that you use, and then you can post it to your Facebook. They have a little light indicator. I did see some people complaining that the light indicator wasn't very bright, but you would know when the glasses are recording. I think this will be much like the Snap spectacles.
Yeah.
Where all the tech reviewers get them, they do their stuff for a week, and then we never hear about them again.
Yeah, it seems like these are Snap Spectacles 2.0 from a different company. Facebook has taken what they know about spectacles and probably the technology that they've gleaned from Oculus and put this into a package. On one hand, it makes sense to have a camera in glasses because it can take a photo of whatever you're looking at. So on the surface, it seems to make sense. However, when I take photos, I'm doing a low angle, a high angle, I'm turning it portrait mode or landscape mode, or I'm doing some weird Dutch angle. I mean, your photos are going to just be basic. They're not going to be anything to write home about. Plus, the quality of the lenses aren't very good, and the camera sensors because they're so
5
small.
megapixel.
It's like, what are these for other than to invade people's privacy and to make them feel uncomfortable? And I feel like that's very on brand for Facebook. So.
Yes. And they do also allow you to listen to music or audio with in-frame speakers and take phone calls. But again, I just don't know who these are for.
Now, I could get on board if these were just headphone glasses that had speakers in them, because the Oculus does that very thing. It's got two tiny speakers that kind of aim right at your ear holes. Yeah. And you're like, where's the sound coming from? I don't even understand. So that is kind of cool. You don't have to have anything in your ear. You can hear it. The people around you could still hear it a little bit, but it's not very loud to them. So I can see the headphones being a great feature, but the camera, not so much.
Yes, and they do start at $299.
Wow.
And for me, like the spectacles, I think were only sunglasses, and these ones, they do have more options, like the prescription and all that kind of stuff like we were talking about. Mm-hmm. But it's like, for me, if they're only sunglasses, then you're like inside in the evening at a party. Like what?
Yeah.
You're the guy with the sunglasses on, so that
I guess you get the transition ones.
Yes,
but you still look like a dude inside wearing sunglasses.
Yes.
What's that song? I wear my sunglasses at night.
Yes, ZZ Top, I believe.
No, I don't think so.
They've got some sunglasses. They always wore sunglasses. Maybe that.
Yeah.
Song by Corey Hart. Close
Corey
enough.
Hart. Yes. Close enough. ZZ Top and Corey Hart. They're easily to mistake for each other.
Oh, I failed. My DJ test failed there. Well, enough about those because none of you will be buying them. An interesting story that came out, Tesla, the latest beta version of their full self-driving or FSD mode will require you to prove you're a good driver. So basically you say, I want to be on this beta. Then Tesla tracks your driving for 7 days, looks to see if you're a good driver and whether or not you're worthy of. So if there was ever a frightening tech overlord story, this seems to be one of them.
Well, hold up. If I want full self-driving, shouldn't I be a bad driver? That's why I want this.
Call. Yeah, the worse driver you are, the more quickly you should get to this feature.
They should give this to all the people out there who are just making dumb mistakes. It's like, be on the beta, please. We want to save you and the people around you.
Yeah, so I'm very curious about this. There seems to be some concerns there. It kind of reminds me some of the insurance companies. They'll put a device in your car that will allow you. I would love to know how many people get better insurance prices after putting one of those devices. Or if the insurance company just writes them a letter and says, we can no longer insure you based on your driving over the past month.
Yeah, all those things seem great on paper, but the creep into our personal lives is a real thing. And I can't imagine what's going to be happening 50 years from now when everybody's tracking us and everything that we do. You're going to be required to wear Facebook Ray-Bans so that they can track where you're going. You're going to have the insurance thing in your car. They're going to track your Apple Watch. It's going to be this dystopian future. Let's all move to the country.
Well, and maybe Australia, where a friend of the show, Elliot, and some other listeners are, they have in some locales, there is now a COVID tracing app that I've seen that this is a thing where they will require you, they will send you a notification saying you must take a picture of a photo of where you are at to prove that you are at home.
Wow. No, thank you.
Wow.
No, thank you, government.
Whew. Anyways, in a story that nobody besides me probably cares about, Intuit is to buy MailChimp for $12 billion. We've talked about Intuit and how they keep buying up other companies. And
they are gobbling up everything. You need to stop it, Intuit. You took away my beloved Credit Karma. Now I am using it begrudgingly.
Yes. Yeah. There's Credit Karma. I mean, they obviously have QuickBooks. I actually have some clients that use QuickBooks, and every time you go to sign in, there's like 20 different apps that you're trying to sign in, and they've got a lot of money control. But then MailChimp, if you don't know, is a email service that you use typically for marketing. So if you have a sequence of emails you want to send out, or we actually, through the website, if you are subscribed to get updates once a week, we send out an email with any posts or the latest podcast episode in that. So it's a really great service. I'm actually a partner with them in my business so that I get some extra features and can help out my clients. But $12 billion, and they are kind of the number one name. Of course, there's 1 million services that do this kind of thing, but they're kind of the original and the biggest. But Intuit is taking them on, and I am just hoping and praying that they won't change too much stuff, is typical when somebody buys somebody out.
We'll hope for the best, but be skeptical.
Yes. And this headline I had seen, but then from Reuters, the looking more deeply into the headline makes me a little more suspect. It says Amazon hikes average U.S. starting pay to $18, hires for 125,000 jobs. Now, we have been no stranger to the fact that Amazon is quickly taking over the world, but the average starting wage is $18. So when you hire a vice president at $2 million an hour, and they had talked about the $15 an hour starting wage, which I think is their minimum starting wage. But the average to $18 is a little interesting to me.
Yeah.
But they are, Amazon is literally trying to take over everything. It says the world's largest online retailer has raised pay from an average around $17 since May, and it's going to $18. I did also see, and I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast, that they are doing benefits like funding college tuition, starting wages as high as $22.50 in some areas. But it is also, I heard on This Week in Tech, they were discussing this and talking about, for a lot of these workers, this is not a cake job. Those delivery drivers, you see them, they are hustling. The warehouse workers, there's been stories about how hard they're working. But for those people that have been hoping for higher pay around the country, Amazon seems to be doing very well at that. Are they also getting too much power, I wonder, sometimes?
Well, I feel like Amazon, we're all going to be working for Amazon at some point in some capacity. They're going to become the new company store. We buy things from them in lieu of pay.
Yes,
and
exactly.
We have to be dependent upon them. And I think that if someone were to ask Jeff Bezos, much like Rockefeller would answer,
yes.
How much more do you need, Jeff? And he'd say, just a little bit more.
Just a little bit
more.
Yes.
Never ends.
So that is a story that will continue to develop. And it's been a while, and I don't even think it was on our bingo card, but a not news story. Stay away from this one. Comcast is working with TV manufacturer Hisense to launch their own TVs, so it will have their X1 platform built into it. Now, I am not a fan of Comcast. Their DVR is okay, but my parents have it, so I use it over there, and it works decently, but I don't know why you would buy a TV with Comcast's features built in.
Well, I don't like Comcast, and I don't like Hisense. This is like two terrible things getting together to create a terrible baby. I would don't walk away from this deal. Instead, go for the TCL Roku type collaboration, where at least there are two manufacturers and companies that are kind of good, at least. But wow. Yeah,
so the only reason I think those make sense is, especially if you only have access to Comcast in your area, and if you're paying, let's say, $10 a month to rent their cable box or whatever, if they were doing something where you really needed a new TV, where you got some sort of a discount, but man, when I got my 55-inch TV for less than $300, I just don't know if I can recommend this one for you.
You could do like Alex Lindsay does on This Week in Tech and other shows, Mac Break Weekly. You could just buy a TV set, don't log it into the internet at all, and just get an Apple TV.
Yes.
Pay the little premium, and hopefully that you have more privacy than Roku or Hisense or Comcast or whatever else they've got built into these things.
Yes. Well, let's cleanse our palate after that one with our bonus odd take. So I was scrolling through TikTok, looking at tech stuff from our Not Nerd Pod TikTok account.
Of course you were.
Yes, and there's a lot of accounts on there where basically websites you never knew you needed, or cool websites to visit. And I don't think we've ever mentioned this one before, but it is called VoCodes, and it is vo.codes. Or vocoder, and this is deepfake text to speech. So what they have is various voices, AI voices, so you can choose many of them, like Stone Cold Steve Austin is the one that popped up, Bob Barker, Bob the Tomato. I mean, there are hundreds of different AI voices, and then you can type in whatever you want and have it play for. I mean, there are some random ones on here, and I think various people can submit these voices, so I'm guessing, I've not gone through many of them, that your results may vary, but they've got Ringo Starr. I just did Ronald Reagan, welcome to Not Nerd, and but yeah, a fun little thing there if you need some low quality voiceover work from Ted Cruz.
And this is dangerous, because I could sit here all day and go through every one of these voices. Will Smith, Stephen Colbert, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Oh, I'm just going to do the whole show in Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, yeah, there we go. And then there's some like Tony Hawk, much beloved celebrity, but it's like, is he a notable voice that you need to...
He's just going to sound like a regular guy.
Yeah. So, So check it out. There's some interesting stuff. And as
That's
I said,
hilarious.
Results may vary. I did just see, as I was clicking out of it, Stan Smith, as done by, I just lost it, of comic book fame, as done by Seth MacFarlane.
So an
yes.
impression of somebody?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
Whew,
This is getting deep rather quick.
Yes, indeed. So have fun at vo.codes, and the link will be in the show notes. But also have fun with our picks of the week.
Sometimes on a technology podcast, you have to do something that's not necessarily technology, although I will argue that basically anything that's invented to improve our lives is a technology.
Technically technology.
Yeah, and I suppose anything that doesn't improve our lives, like a weapon or something like that can murder you, is probably also technology. So if you boil it down, everything's technology.
Yes,
everything we
it's
create.
more to think of electronics as technology, but
the wheel was technology. Skyscrapers are technology. The piece of technology that is non-electrical that I want to talk about today are Container Store shoe boxes. And you might be saying, Dave, do you have a lot of shoes to manage? And you'd be surprised. I have about 4 or 5 pairs of shoes. So yes, I do have a lot of shoes to manage. But I also have a lot of cables and wires and things to manage.
Yes.
And over the years, I purchased many storage container options and variations from different brands, etc. And I finally settled on the Container Store shoebox. These things are about, 6 inches by 18 inches or something like that. They're a standardized size, which is great. They are clear so that you can see through them.
Yes.
And they're relatively inexpensive. They're about $3 or so a piece here. I don't have the price. Well, let's say they're $3. If you buy a lot of them, the price adds up. But what is it worth to have all of your items organized, visible? You can even stick a label on there if you want to go extra, which I've done in the past. So I recently picked up about 10 more of these things to manage all my cables and doodads and bits and bobs that are laying around. And if you were to look at my office right now, you would say you need to buy 10 more because there's stuff still laying around everywhere, and that is true. But if you're looking for a consistent way to organize your things, those are great. They also sell a smaller box that is half the size. I'll show it to you, Nate. You've probably seen this size.
Oh, I have not.
These, and what's great about these, 2 of these will fit exactly on top of the shoebox. And so you can have a shoebox, 2 of these things, another shoebox on top, and they kind of, the feet and everything, lock them together.
Oh, nice.
And one thing I kind of don't recommend, but if you're desperate, you can get it, is the larger, wider. They're the same. They're a little bit longer, I guess, not the same length. They're a little bit longer and about twice as wide for your big stuff, but they don't stack with the shoebox or the small little doodad box. I've tried to fit everything in the shoebox and the smaller ones, and so that my system is like Legos.
Nice.
It just fits all together. It's like playing Tetris sometimes. And so I've got them on different shelves, different places, and periodically I'll go through and dump everything out and kind of reorganize and throw away some stuff I don't need and whatever.
Don't throw anything away. You might need it someday.
It's very, very rare. I have a very small trash can in here, and it is not full. So anyway, go to Container Store, pick a few of those up, but be careful. When you're in there, you're going to see all kinds of cool stuff.
Yes.
Don't be lured by all other nice things that you're going to want to buy for your home.
Yes.
So that's what I do for storage.
Nice. Yes. I in the not too distant past, I purchased some from Costco. They have some but they don't look as nice as those ones, and the smaller ones I don't have. I've also heard, that Home Depot or Lowe's would have some options, but the Container Store, they are focused on that stuff, and I definitely need to do some more organizing.
Well, the shout out for the Container Store is that you go to Lowe's or you go to Costco or you go to Walmart or whatever, you go back in 6 months to get more. They may have shut down that line. They may be like, now they're all purple. Or
The consistency. So you go to the Container Store 10 years ago or tomorrow, they have these shoe boxes and they work. They're
I don't think they're ever going to change these. They're too far invested. They're too perfect.
Oh, famous last words.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've made the mold, so they're just printing money with these things. So it's a good safe bet that a year from now you'll go back. They have the exact same ones, and you can add to your collection. So that's why I stick with them. I'm tired of having boxes that don't match.
Yes, no, that is a very good point. I might be making a trip over there very soon. Well, my pick of the week this week, as I teased earlier, is a Wise product, and I think this is the most recent one that I got, and I don't know if we mentioned when it was announced, but this is the Wise Nightlight.
They have everything.
They do, and this isn't necessarily a smart device, but I had pre-ordered a 3-pack, and one day they showed up, and what these are they are probably about the size of a deck of cards. They do have a battery inside. You charge them with a USB-C cable, and then they have a metal plate that attaches to the wall. They send you some of that like 3M removable sticky stuff.
Okay.
So you find your spot, you place the metal plate on the wall, and then there's a small magnet that attaches the nightlight to the wall. Now, they are motion activated at nighttime, so they look for darkness, and then if they see motion, they will light up. You can sync them, so if you turn them all on at the same time and they're close enough to each other after you charge them up, they will sync, so if one gets triggered, they will all turn on. Now, we've decided for our home, we don't necessarily want that. If I'm coming up the stairs late at night, I don't want the one in my daughter's room to turn on. Yeah. There's no need for that. But I believe I paid $19 for the 3-pack, and I haven't charged them yet out of the box, and it's been a week or two, and they're still working well. But just a great little, nightlight set to just give you enough light. So they do have their LED, of course. They have a downward facing and upward facing light, and it kind of shines back towards the wall, so it's not going to blind your eyes. But if you're up at night, or I don't want to turn the hall light on when I'm coming upstairs, that does the stairs and the light to wake up the wife or daughter, and just enough light to get you to where you need to go at nighttime. And at $20, I mean, it's really, really a good price. It does look like they are out of stock right now, but they have started shipping them. And I do see here it says 30-day hassle-free returns, which I'm guessing they probably have on all of their products, which I will be doing some more reviews and might have to bring my wife on, have her make an appearance to review a couple of the products we have received from Wise as well.
Wow, that's exciting. Now, at first I thought that these were the type that you plug into an outlet. And so when you said they're rechargeable and you can charge them via USB-C, I was a little confused. There's good and bad of having the outlet style. The great part is you never have to power them.
Yes.
And some of those have batteries, so if the power goes out, they'll still
work.
However, they take up a power receptacle.
Yes, and you're limited to where your outlets are.
Yeah, I have a lot of things to plug in. And so you're right. If there's like above the stairs in one of the pictures where they have 3 or so going above your stairs, you walk upstairs in the middle of the night, you want your little night lights to turn on. That would be a place where all 3 of them turning on at the same time would be kind of nice, right? Or if you have a long hallway, I'm thinking people who have really big houses and mansions probably aren't going to buy a $20 3-pack of Wise lights. They're probably going to have something a little more fancy. There's probably a threshold there for people who have a space like you that need these lights that are perfectly happy to charge them every 3 months or so.
Yeah, so it's just, like how many people have an outlet in the middle of their stairway? Nobody. Or paying an electrician to bring one in. So being able to have one there. So they're very flexible, and they do have, of course, a bunch of pictures on their website of different places next to your bed, in the bathroom, so very cool little product, and very reasonably priced, as most Wise products are, and I am enjoying them so far. They've been very helpful. I will also mention there are 2 settings. You can have it where it does the motion detection, or you can flip it the switch the other way, and it'll just be a constant if you did want a constant light for like the kids' room, so it's not turning on and off.
But it has a light sensor, right? So in the daytime it would turn off, and then at night it would turn on.
Yes.
I'm actually intrigued by these. I might pick these up. I'm thinking in a couple of the bathrooms, these might be nice just to stick on the wall that way. Now, the pro tip of the century, if you have an Apple Watch, is use the flashlight on your watch.
Yes.
I use it all the time. It has the red option so that your retinas do not dilate, which helps you to see better in the nighttime, and then it also doesn't take forever for your vision to come back, your night vision to come back. If I use a restroom at night or if I have to go downstairs real quick, I typically will just use my watch. But not everybody has an Apple Watch, and most of the people who do don't wear them to bed. So that's a very special case.
Yes, indeed. Well, we have talked at you. We have made up for all the shorter episodes we've done recently and come at you with the long ones. We will wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening. Now get out there and tech better. My wrist stretches for all my typing. See, this is what we need video for.
Is this a real wrist stretch?
I think so. It's got to be good for you, right?
It's good.
Loosens up the arms. You feel it through your forearms there, all those tendons. This is a great one for me, is massaging these tendons up near your elbow. It really ties into your wrist.
This week in physical therapy by Nate Heath and Dave Baylor.
Amateur physical therapy.
It feels good, so it must be good.
Okay, here we go.